I can taste your words. I can taste your words.
Welcome to the Easy Answer Podcast. I'm Brandy, plant-based chef.
And I'm Vonanise, plant-based adjacent.
On this podcast, we explore thought-provoking conversations around food
and simple ways to stay healthy in this crazy world.
You know, we talk about food on this show. So just if you don't know, that's kind of what we do. And today we're going to talk about how do you get kids to eat vegetables? If you've watched this show in part or in its entirety, you know that I am a veggie pusher. I'm always trying to help people find
pusher man.
help people eat their vegetables and enjoy them. We usually have spirited conversations anytime people attempt to justify a world or a body that is void of veggies. And a lot of times when we talk about kids, there's this myth that we have continued to push on society, on children, that they do not like vegetables. But I have a totally different philosophy around that. And so we want to kind of talk about vegetables. Like, so Vaughn, when you were a kid, like, did you like vegetables?
When I was a kid, I did like vegetables, but my sister didn't. And she's the one with the two boys. Mm-hmm. And they're not too keen on vegetables. You know, like they might eat broccoli, but they mostly like rice. They like kid stuff. Rice. It's also mac and cheese. We took my nephews to IHOP, and on the kids menu they had Kraft mac and cheese, and he loved it.
Okay.
And we were happy that they had it on the kids menu. Because look at Brandy's face. Just say it, Brandy. Okay?
Listen, I'm not saying that kids don't like mac and cheese. What I'm saying is that we have created this narrative that kids like mac and cheese. I think if we give kids, listen, it is all about what we're presented with. We have a narrative that kids want dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets. Why can't they just eat all natural chicken strips? You understand? Like, why can't they just eat chicken strips? They don't have to have processed chicken nuggets. We've created these narratives and we continue to push them on our kids to the point that you end up raising kids who claim they don't like vegetables just because they've been told from jump that they're not supposed to like vegetables. So that's my theory. I loved peas as a kid. And I loved peas as a kid because my mom made them taste good. And it's that simple.
I mean, I liked peas when I was a kid. I liked all vegetables when I was a kid. But I think that sometimes, you know, we have to take into account, one, that people are just trying to get nutrients in their children. And there's a lot of pressure as a parent to just get them to eat, you know. And sometimes just getting them to eat supersedes, you know, that need to make sure that they have vegetables.
No,
in every meal.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not out here saying have your kids sit at the table, force feeding them, you know, asparagus, you know, so that they can get some vegetables. I'm not saying that. Kids, they need to eat. We need to make things.
But let somebody tell you that they put cheese on broccoli, and Brandy goes hog wild.
I don't understand how that became a thing. I don't even get it. Like, broccoli in itself is such a food. Like, while we had a prep conversation about this, and I also have a problem with the quality of cheese that they put on this broccoli. So every time we saw this broccoli on a plate with like that cheese sauce spread on top, it was like that Cheese Whiz stuff from the jar. Like, it wasn't some nice, like, yummy aged sharp cheddar that was like, okay, probably at least worth ingesting. It was some processed cheese from a jar. Like, why are we doing
it? Go ham, because it makes me look more sane.
I just point out what people don't think about, right? We have been conditioned to believe that this is how we're supposed to eat broccoli with cheese on it. And then not just good cheese. I don't even eat cheese, but I'm just saying, if you were going to eat...
It's non-dairy challenge.
I know. I don't even eat it. But if you're going to eat cheese, right? Can we get some good quality cheese at least. Like, I'm just a pusher for Whole Foods. That's my biggest thing. Like, I mean, even though, you know, I of course I'm trained as like a plant-based chef, and so of course that's the food that I kind of live in. I mean, I love food all across the
Did
board.
your mother give you broccoli with cheese when you were younger? Tell me
Never.
about this.
That could be it. That actually could be it. My mom never did it, so maybe that's why. Maybe that's my bias from youth, that I never
snob about it.
I never had cheese on broccoli. My mom made really good broccoli. Like,
I know. And then listen, I'm the bougie one.
hold on.
Bougie one. Bougie adjacent. Okay.
Listen. I will, just like your plant-based adjacent, I'll own bougie adjacent. Okay.
Yes. Hashtag bougie adjacent.
Okay, I will own that. All right. Yeah, we just gotta have quality. I just think that with kids, we don't give them enough credit. We don't give them enough credit. I think that we believe that, a child is not gonna like a Brussels sprout. Who said that? A child is not gonna like string beans that aren't. I don't know. I guess string beans with sugar seems weird, but like corn just out of the, like corn without like sugar added into it, like not in its natural state. I think we don't give kids' palates enough credit, and that's all I'm advocating for in this moment.
You have to understand that as your kids get older, they will go to other people's house, and I'm about to tell you something, and I need you to hold on to your bridges right now.
Okay.
Bridges, like, oh my God, what did they do to this vegetable? Right? So my niece, my older niece, she's like, when she was younger, she went to someone's house, and on top of peas, they used to put sugar on peas. So then when she came home, when she came home, she started to eat peas with sugar on them. Mm-hmm. Until I came over and was like, "What is there sugar on these peas?" I didn't get it, and then I was like, "I'm not doing it." Yeah,
I mean, but the thing about that's not an unnatural process, right? So peas are naturally sweet, and
so why you have to put sugar on them?
But that's because people don't necessarily know how to cook them, right? So if you can, like, peas, they're called sweet peas, like they're literally sweet. So if you actually let them cook properly, you don't boil them to an oblivion, right? The sweetness, that sugar that's naturally in them kind of comes out. You also chop up a little bit of onions. You caramelize those onions before you put the peas in. So then you actually add that next layer of that sweetness, that sugar that we're after. Then we don't have to take.
Listen, and we can't be making this for kids because kids are not fans of onions. Like, mostly.
It's how you present them. You can have big chunks of onions. Like if you cut really petite onions and literally like just cook them down, like so, and they're just an accent flavor piece. You could sell kids some onions.
School, Brandy. I don't know how to cook. Like, I don't know how to cut onions like a boom, boom, boom. I just cut onions the way I cut onions. Have you ever seen Brandy's knife skills? She really went to culinary school. Okay.
But listen, my mom didn't go to culinary school, and she would figure out how to get some onions in a dish. Trust and believe. Onions was like a food group in the house I grew up in. Onions was in almost everything.
Yeah, that's how our house was too. Yeah. Onions was everything. Big chunks of onions, and my sister Kim, who didn't eat onions, she would just pick them out, and I would just eat the onions.
The flavor, even if you're just using the onions for that flavor, that sweetness when they caramelize, like help. So it's like this thought process, and we were talking about this too when we were prepping. Like the palate loves that sugar note. Like we love like sweet, but sweet doesn't always have to come from sugar. Like from processed table sugar. It can come from other places in the food family.
See, but I just think that, this is a fun conversation for you and I to have as two people that don't have children. Mm-hmm. All right. But people who have children, okay, they are dealing with, small windows of time in which because children, have to be on schedule. They have to eat food so that they can take a bath, so that they can go to bed. And they have to eat within a certain, and they have to wake up early to go to school, and people don't have time to fight with their children. And that's why you get things like the processed mac and cheese, the beefaronis, the raviolis, because you just want to get food in them that they like. And you don't want to keep wasting your money. Like, we'll buy food for our nephews thinking that they'll like, and they're like, not so much, And I just think it's easy to pontificate like, oh, well, you could just, but until you're in the situation, it's one thing. So that brings in our guest, right? Who's been in the situation, right, Brandy?
Yes. Yeah, no, for sure. And listen, I'm not sitting here saying we should I 100% get it. Regardless, though, even if it's a challenge, your child needs vegetables. Like your child needs the energy that vegetables give them, the vitamins, the antioxidants, the fiber, the water. So anyway, I'm gonna, obviously we gotta bring our guest in who has kids like perspective, but like we can't just give our kids mac and cheese because they like it exclusively. Hey Vera, welcome back to the East West podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
See what I have to deal with.
Listen, I just want to make sure kids grow up to be healthy. That's all I'm trying to do.
I hear you, lady.
So
Vera's a mom. Tell us about how you got vegetables into your children.
When they were smaller, kids don't know what they don't like until you tell them that they don't like it. A lot of times. So a lot of times kids who don't like vegetables, it comes from not being introduced to vegetables when they're small to start out with. Now, granted, once they get to like preschool and school age, they do develop their own I don't like this or I don't like that kind of moment, but it's usually based on something that they've eaten that they're one not used to eating, or two that doesn't taste good. And I can completely understand that. With my kids, I always had one rule: you have to try it, even if you don't like it and you don't want anymore or you don't want it. You have to at least try it. And even if you've tried it once, said, I tried this before. If it's done a different way each time, you have to try it. Because sometimes we develop a taste for something that we don't even realize we have a taste for. But once a parent gives in, it's like, oh, well, they're not going to eat that. They don't like it. Then you've already lost the battle with your kids, with vegetables.
So your children are older now. They're in high school.
They're almost all in high school. Like I have older, but my last two are in high school and middle school.
So did your kids eat the mac and cheese and the beefaronis and the raviolis? Did they ask you for it? You see,
we have to go back to when I was a kid. I was a kid when processed foods were becoming huge in the family, huge in society, like right after the Industrial Revolution kind of age. Not that I'm ancient, but I'm not ancient. I'm just older. And where processed foods were the way, like where, it was becoming a big thing. So I grew up on all that crap food. I grew up eating spam and beefaroni and ravioli and canned vegetables and frozen vegetables. And we did still have good food because, I come from a family of chefs and restaurant owners and cooks. So we still had some good food, but because it was the new crave, like margarine was the thing. You didn't eat butter. What butter now? You ate margarine. Well, we know that margarine, if you leave it out in the sun too long, will turn to rubber. If you didn't know, now you do, because it's made from the same chemical components as tires are made. So, here it is. That's what I grew up on, was on quick foods in a combination with good foods. So I didn't care for a lot of vegetables when I was growing up. And like you said, onions. If I saw an onion or a mushroom in my food, I don't care how small it was when I was a kid, I would literally pick it out. My aunt used to tell a story how I would sit half of the meal picking out what I didn't want in the food that she made. Mm-hmm. Because the way she made it, it just did not taste the way that I liked it. When, my kids were coming up, I started learning more about fresh vegetables.
All right.
As opposed to frozen and canned vegetables. Not to say I still don't use frozen or canned, but I use very, very, very little frozen and canned vegetables. I'm more of a fresh vegetable. And as a result of that, my kids actually love vegetables.
That's great.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, I don't want to present as if I didn't grow up in a house where we didn't eat, not beefaroni, that wasn't our thing, but ravioli from a can.
Right.
But my mama we always had vegetables. Like it didn't matter. We had vegetables on Takeout Friday. We would always protest that. We're like, Mom, you can't go get Popeyes, Popeyes, chicken biscuits, and then make some string beans and say we have a takeout. Like that's not the same thing. But like she would not let us just have a meal without vegetables. So
I didn't either.
yeah,
That's the thing. Like whether it was mixed vegetables. Like I hated. I'm using the big H word. Hated mixed vegetables. And I didn't understand why I hated mixed vegetables as much as I did. And it was like one of the staple vegetables that we had
yes,
in our house. And it's because when you take frozen mixed vegetables and you cook them all at the same time, there's no way on the planet the lima beans and the green beans are going to get cooked at the same rate as the peas and
and
the
the
carrots or the corn.
corn.
You're gonna have, you know, you have a mixture between something that's gonna break your tooth and the other thing that's just gonna be mush in your mouth, and it was just disgusting. I don't care what kind
Y'all
of seasoning.
are really food people, the two of you, because who even remembers that?
I hate it. Now, if I make a mixed vegetable dish, I cook the stuff separate and then I mix them together. So everything is in
I never do
harmony.
that. Y'all are the exception, not the rule. I think most people are like me. They're not cooking the vegetables separate. Okay.
That's the only thing I'll eat mixed vegetables now. I don't blame a lot of kids when they don't want to eat vegetables and they kick it around a plate. With one of my nieces, when my sister was growing up, she had to eat all of her vegetables first before she could get her meat or starch. She couldn't have anything else but vegetable on the plate. She had to eat those and then she could get to everything else. So I was like, no, that's not the approach for me either. So between
that approach,
huh?
So I wonder if your niece eats vegetables now.
Well, my niece is a big vegetable eater, and she still eats all of her vegetables first.
Oh, okay.
Before, so it works for some people.
It did work. It worked.
It's a different approach. For me, for my kids, I had two different approaches. My one approach was, like I told you earlier, you have to try it. Even if you don't like it, you have to try it. My other approach was that even if, like, the vegetable that was presented on a plate, there were other vegetables mixed in with the meats. Like my meatloaf is half vegetables. I make a turkey nugget that's really more vegetables in the turkey nugget than the turkey meat. For rice, I would literally blend down the onions and garlic and the flavors and then cook it into the rice water. So it's cooked into the rice. And they wouldn't see it, but they were getting their vegetables. So
Jerry Seinfeld's wife had a book about that where she put, she's put vegetables in each of her dishes, like even like chocolate cake, and she put like vegetables in it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't do that to chocolate cake.
I'm telling you, like chocolate
brownies. I've had other kind of vegetable. Like I'll do carrots. I make a mini
beans in her chocolate, right? You put beans in yours.
Yeah, but it's
like different things.
When you could put zucchini in chocolate cake, not just like grate it, but if you blend it and like use it as like and it cooks into it, you could make it. You could justify, because chocolate is so forgiving. Like once you put that cocoa,
and that's how the traditional red velvet recipe is. It's with beets.
Yeah.
And that's just chocolate with beets.
Red velvet cake is made with beets, but like I keep it simple. That's the third thing that most parents don't realize with their kids, with vegetables. If you keep it simple, they'll love stuff just the way it is. Like, like when babies are teething, give them a carrot to chew on. They're not going to swallow that carrot. They can't even bite through it. They ain't got no teeth.
Yeah, I had a friend who give her child when he was teething the kale, like the stem from kale. Yeah, the stem from kale, and like it was such an interesting thing, and it's not something that you would even think.
No,
but it works. The child likes vegetables.
They're getting the flavor, they're getting the nutrients, they're getting, the healthy benefits. Is not going to hurt their gums in any way. It's little things like that. But when you already have in your mind that your kid doesn't like vegetables or your kid won't eat vegetables, it comes back to what happened with you more than it's about the kid.
Mhm. Yeah, and I really like, Vera, like the whole idea of getting your kid to try like vegetables. Not to say like the ultimate goal is to make sure that our kids don't go hungry. So if they do, if they need to eat something, we make sure they get something. But constantly coming back to the table and keep like trying to find something that they like. And if I don't know, if all your child wants to eat is broccoli, like just give them broccoli. Like I do want my child to have, or children in general to have like a wide range of things, but
Right.
let them
Broccoli
try
and
it.
cheese whiz is not going to be their experience.
No, chocolate and not with cheese whiz. Not those. But if they're cool with just broccoli,
Just broccoli, or if they have cheese, they're gonna have a good cheese, right?
yeah, the respectable cheese.
Yes. I agree with you, Vaughn. It has to be respectable cheese.
Say that.
I actually love broccoli with cheese.
I used to
And
eat that when I was little. I loved it.
let me
In
tell
the
you,
bag too. And I used to sop it up like this. Okay.
let me tell you, I'm not opposed to using Velveeta cheese if I have to.
Yes,
Okay, we know that
I love
Velveeta
it.
is on that level.
This is on that level.
Right there for my mom. We never had Velveeta. My mom had like the things that she didn't like. I guess growing up, we never had. I tasted Velveeta.
Everyone.
Yeah, I guess that is the case with everyone. like you say, your mom makes the food, so she's not eating Velveeta. We're not eating Velveeta.
Our mother hated mayonnaise. We didn't like mayonnaise,
Yeah, so yeah,
And that's what I mean about how what you really are into is what
yeah, your
yeah,
kids.
what
Yeah,
the kids are going to be into.
yeah.
So
So
you have to go outside your own comfort zone and try stuff that you've never tried before. So
yeah,
I
yeah. It's like me and okra. I didn't like okra. I mean, I'm still not an okra fan. I was not
yeah.
consider myself an okra fan. I've had good okra curry from an Indian restaurant, and I don't count if I like something fried. I don't think that we can say we like food if it's fried, because what's not good fried, right? So I like fried okra, but I don't consider me liking okra because I like fried okra. So that's that. But every time I have an opportunity to try okra, I'll try it because I'm like, am I gonna like it?
I mean, I like certain things only because it's the way my mother makes it. Like my mother makes this thing. It's like a succotash. It's ground turkey. She puts sausage in it, but I always pick the sausage out, whatever. But it has corn and okra that she just puts in like for 2 seconds, and the okra's kind of crispy. It is so good. And she always screams at me. She's like, "Stop taking out all my okra!" And I take the okra out because it's so delicious, just like that. Just the okra, the corn, and then it has like a tomato base. It's so good to me. I eat the okra, corn, tomato base. And that's really good to me. But when I eat other people's okra and it's slimy and gross, I do not like that. But I was watching a show, High Off the Hog, and they were saying how gumbo, like the name for okra in French is like a derivative of the word gumbo, and that's what they use, for gumbo. That's like part of the soup, the gumbo. And I was just like, and they talked about how we as Africans brought okra over here to America. So it's indigenous to Africa, and we bought it here. And I just thought that was really interesting.
Me either.
Oh, right? It's like so intriguing. And so when it comes to certain foods, I find like when I hear that we brought it, it makes me want to like give okra a try every way that someone makes okra. Like let me try to be, since it's from my people, let me make sure that I, give fried okra a try every way. Like every time I go somewhere, I need to try different types of okra because they said that during High on the Hog. That's what I heard.
And I like that. My mom used to make succotash, but never put okra in it. Like we always used to have lima beans instead, but the same base that you're talking. But now I'm a little inspired to make succotash with okra to see if
only for like 2 seconds.
A little bit. It gets, I had some really soggy okra recently. It was kind of sad. But yeah, I'm gonna try the crisp version.
I'm still struggling because we grew up eating okra, and it was just one of those moments where it's like, when you go to somebody's house and you have fried chicken and it ain't fried right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what okra was always to me.
Oh. But
That
now
was
that I give you that little tidbit about high on how, do you want to delve into the okra thing and give okra another chance?
I want to try it because I'm always up for a good challenge. I'm
Okay.
always up for a good challenge to say how I can make something on the next level. Like I have some sardines, and I do remember a recipe where it's okra with sardines and a tomato sauce. And I've been
Mhm.
trying to figure out what to do with these sardines, because sardines is another one that's not high on my
You're
favorites list,
Yeah.
but I'm finding that they are so good for you. I mean, sardines are amazing. They're like one of those superfoods that people don't know about or don't understand.
Why don't you put your sardines with the tomato base? And I'm telling you, corn and okra, and that okra, the way my mother makes it, like I just could like eat it like all day. But I'm telling you, it's only like it's crisp okra. Try it. It's probably delicious.
Okay, I'm gonna give that a try. And
We'll let
unfortunately,
y'all know on social media how our okra experiment went since we heard that it's from our motherland.
I will see if Vera makes something so good that kids are gonna like it. It's gonna be so good.
Sardines and okra, yeah, that's really kid friendly.
if they don't know it, they may actually just love it.
It.
They actually just love it. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
I think we're going to end our episode of the Easy Answer podcast here today. How do we get kids to eat vegetables? We got some good insight. Continue the conversation in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, let us know any of your tips and tricks that you have to help your kids, your cousins, children in your life eat vegetables. And as always, yes, subscribe. And, as always, remember to keep it easy. We appreciate you spending your afternoon or time or whenever you watch this with us, and we will see you again soon. Later.